A new lizard species dubbed the Scawfell Island sunskink has been formally named after being discovered on an island off North Queensland. It is the second unique lizard species to be found on the island, with the leaf-tailed gecko discovered at the same remote location in 2023. Dr. Conrad Hoskin, who is an associate professor at James Cook University, made the discovery and he joins us now. This must be very exciting for you. Now tell us about how this all came about.
Yes, it is exciting. It came about through targeted surveys of the islands in that area. So there's the Whitsunday Island group, and then there's some other islands to the south called the Cumberland Islands off Mackay. And those islands hadn't been surveyed much, so we went out looking for the diversity on the islands and looking for any species that might have been overlooked previously. And during those surveys, we found the leaf-tailed gecko and the sunskink. So yeah, it's very exciting for this island, this one little island, to have two unique species.
Tell us about that island. It must be quite a place.
It's amazing. Yeah, so it's a long way off. It's about 50 kilometres off Mackay. And when you approach it, it just looks like a big mountain top coming out from the sea. It really is quite impressive. It's not that big, but it's quite tall. And when you get there, it's got woodland, and then in the gullies it has lovely rainforest rocky habitat. And it's in those little tucked away moist pockets that the unique leaf-tailed gecko and the unique skink are.
Now, tell us particularly about the skink. What's distinctive about it? We're just seeing a shot of it here on our screens now.
Yeah, so you can see that beautiful orange colour down the side on the skink. It's distinctive. There's a lot of the small skinks in Australia. Australia is famously famous for reptile diversity. This skink, it looks a bit like some of the ones on the Queensland coast, but it's got some scale differences, some morphology differences, and one of the really characteristic differences is that lovely orange down the side of the males. It's also genetically well divergent, so genetically very different to the ones on the mainland, which shows it's been isolated out on Scawfell Island for a very long time.
So we're seeing there the skink with its orange stripe down its sides. We've got the gecko, which was also discovered there and unique to that island as well, which looks incredible. Do we have any idea of the type of numbers of these unique lizards and what measures might be required to protect them?
Yeah, so both the gecko on Scawfell and the skink, the two endemics, the ones only found there, they're both in pretty good numbers in their tiny pockets of habitat. So the island itself is not very big, and then on the island they're just in little pockets. But in those pockets of that wetter habitat with the rocks, they're doing pretty well, which is a good thing, because anything that's found in one spot is automatically under threat to some degree, because anything could impact that whole distribution. But the fact they're in good numbers is a positive. And then we're looking at several threats. So maybe invasive geckos, which have got onto the island. Also how fire burns on the island. It's natural for fire to be present to some degree, but we want to look after those rainforest pockets. So the numbers are pretty good, but we need to keep an eye on both those species and monitor their numbers just to check they're doing well through time.
I want to get an idea from you of what it is like to discover a new species like this, because let's face it, most of us don't get that opportunity, that privilege, or dedicate ourselves in the way that you have. Was it a punch the air moment? What was it? And how sure were you that it was a new species, or did it take a while to work that out?
For both those on Scawfell Island, it was quite obvious at the time when we came across them that they were new species, which is a genuine punch in the air moment. It is super exciting. It's sort of almost doubly exciting because you work on these animals and you know them so well, to then find ones out there in the wilds that you didn't know about. It's super exciting. It's really exciting to learn more about the biodiversity that's out there. So yeah, it was really exciting. And then the skink took a bit longer to describe, just because we wanted to survey all the surrounding islands to get a better understanding of its distribution, and also wanted to throw in a lot more genetic data and other lines of evidence to be sure it was a distinct species. Yeah, every species discovery is super exciting, and it's quite incredible that in Australia in this day and age, we're still discovering new species, including vertebrates like these reptiles.
Incredible. Dr. Conrad Hoskin from James Cook University, congratulations, and thank you very much for speaking to us on ABC News.
Thank you, Selena.